Okay, so long story short, I made a video about how the USPS routinely damages my Entertainment Weekly magazine in transit, but how I felt a line had been crossed because my most recent issue was just a cover. And then someone shared that video on the USPS Reddit, and there was all these comments responding to it. So then I made a second video responding to the comments in that Reddit thread. And then eventually someone shared my second video on the USPS Reddit. So there was another bunch of comments responding. All the links are in the description. But now this is a video responding to the comments of the second Reddit thread, which were responding to the video where I initially, F.U. Grady writes, 24 minutes long? Looks like I won't be making the truck today. Oh, thank you. No Thing Whoa Man says, damn, 24 minutes? That's a tough sell. I watched about 3 minutes, but he found us. Abort. 24 minutes is not that long. You know what's happening 24 minutes into Jurassic Park? They're meeting Mr. DNA. I'm a Blessing says, sadly, it's rarely the carrier's fault. It comes to us that way most of the time. And you just accept that? You're better than this, I'm a Blessing. S. Salulk says, LOL, I love how he switches back and forth from saying his problem is with USPS, not his carrier, and how carriers shouldn't have to be bribed to do their jobs well. I'm not switching back and forth. That was me addressing two different things. You know how sometimes there's more than one thing? I wonder if his head would explode if he found out some rural carriers deliver to apartment complexes. I don't know. Let's see. No. Wait. No. No Coffee, No Think says, okay, he is serious. And so was the first part of my answer, but I can see this guy doesn't get it. 24 minutes is a bit long to explain that, so let me first show that I get where he's coming from. He ordered a thing. He paid for it. The seller sent the thing. They paid for that. We were entrusted to deliver the thing in one piece. That didn't happen, so he thinks we should replace the thing. Great, you get it, so I don't have to read the rest of this comment. Just kidding. He has a fundamental misunderstanding of how the mail works. There are two things he doesn't grasp. One, when we have an addressed mail piece with postage, by law, we have to deliver it. Full stop. It doesn't matter if it's shredded. We deliver it. I do understand that, and never said otherwise. My problem was not with the carrier delivering the cover. My problem was with the USPS turning the magazine into a cover. 2, when a sender gives us a mail piece, it advances through the system as they gave it to us. Oh, so Entertainment Weekly gave you a loose cover? I don't think so, man. Let me elaborate on point 2. Oh, please do. Suppose you have a fragile, treasured family heirloom. It's a century old, one of a kind, and there are memories attached to this thing. Your mother would cry if something happens to it, and you need to send it to her. Do you A, throw it in a box too big for it, slap on postage, and slam dunk it onto a mail counter? Or B, appropriately pack it in a box the right size for it, with appropriate packing material to ensure that it is held firmly and cushioned against impact? Neither. I would never send my mother anything via the U.S. Postal Service. Especially not a family heirloom that's 100 years old and priceless. I'd probably use like FedEx at that point. The last time I sent my mom something by mail, she never got it. It was a green envelope during the holidays, and it was filled with gift cards, and it magically never arrived. It was obviously a little too tempting for whichever postal worker lost it, and when I complained to the post office, well, you can imagine how helpful they were. The point here is that if your magazine publisher sends you a magazine in such a manner that it is likely to get destroyed, it will likely get destroyed. So every magazine that doesn't get destroyed by the USPS is a miracle? The first issue of Entertainment Weekly was published on February 16th, 1990. Oh God. It is unlikely in the extreme that this is the first magazine that has been destroyed in transit. It is unlikely in the extreme that Ellie Duke, the publisher of Entertainment Weekly, doesn't know of the problem. Wow, stalker. Yet they keep sending their magazines without appropriate protection. Why? Because they have your money and you'll not get theirs. It's that simple. They're cheap and you already paid. They don't care. The same goes for institutions of education who send $40,000 to $150,000 pieces of paper in a bendable, foldable envelope rather than a box or hard cover. Packing it appropriately would cost more, so they don't do it. Right, so be careful. No, the Postal Service is not at fault. No, the Postal Service should not cover your magazine. No, the Postal Service does not need to explain this to Ellie Duke because I promise this high-profile publisher of paper things comprehends how to properly move paper things. If, in fact, this world-renowned publisher does not know how to properly move paper things, then it's not a publisher. I doubt they would disagree. I don't know, try asking them, see what they say. Having broken this down at length, the first part of my previous response really was serious. Magazines sent to stores have to be seen by the end consumer before they're bought. They are sent in greater volume to any single destination. As such, they're sent in boxes where they're not going to be destroyed. Yeah, but then like 100 people go through them and put them back on the shelf. I don't want that. If you want a magazine that will not be destroyed in the mail, get it at the store. Multiple letter carriers are not telling you this to be insensitive. We're telling you this because we deal with moving paper things all day, every day, and we might just know a little bit about it. See how much time it takes to have a conversation about this? Another 24 minutes for Magazine Guy, and to fully cover the topic, umpteen paragraphs and a little proofreading for me? Or we could just trust the short answer and think it through. That's a bit more efficient. I could be in the shower right now after 10 hours in 100-degree heat, but I hope this clears things up. You're still doing that thing where you're not really having a conversation, you're just trying to feel big on the internet. You're still doing it. Killing the Clock says, LMAO, pissed off mail carriers. He's not wrong, really, right? Next CN says, I just think his passion is hilarious. It's not like this video will affect how any of us do our jobs. I'm glad I could bring laughter into your life. Killing the Clock says, agree. I'm about halfway through. I don't remember if I commented or not, but I'm hoping I did and I make an appearance. I just want to be YouTube famous. Here you go. King McEasy25 says, he messed up my name, but oh well. Oh, sorry, did I get it right that time? Killing the Clock says, since he's onto us, and I'm certain that he's reading these now, I'll speak directly to him. I was mostly paying attention to the video, and it sounds like you may have a classic case of sweaty mail carrier. Thanks for mostly paying attention. I'll try to mostly answer you. And yeah, there was this whole big chunk in the last thread about sweaty mail carriers. I didn't read any of those comments because I don't think that has anything to do with this. I don't think my magazine became a cover because of your sweat. Also, have you ever posted on this sub asking about what keeps organized crime out of the USPS? Because you kind of remind me of that guy. No. You may find this hard to believe, but I actually don't explore the unofficial subreddit for the United States Postal Service in my spare time. In fact, were it not for the people here sharing my videos, it would never even occur to me that this exists. Sold My Soul says, I think he just found a way to get views. More videos to follow, bet. Yeah, if there's one thing every YouTuber wants, it's hate views and downvotes from non-subscribers. Spooky Action 6 says, slap it in a We Care body bag and move on. Now, I didn't know what this meant, so I Googled it, and I saw that there is this little plastic bag that has text on it that is given, I guess, to mail carriers. It looks like this. And it says, Dear postal customer, we sincerely regret the damage to your mail during handling by the Postal Service. We hope this incident did not inconvenience you. Oh no, I wasn't inconvenienced at all. In fact, tonight I was thinking of building a roaring fire in my fireplace and just curling up all warm and snug and reading my cover. We realize that your mail is important to you and that you have every right to expect it to be delivered in good condition. Although every effort is made to prevent damage to the mail, every effort? Well, that's just a blatant lie. Occasionally this will occur because of the great volume handled and the rapid processing methods which must be employed to assure the most expeditious distribution possible. We hope you understand. We assure you that we are constantly striving to improve our processing methods in order that even a rare occurrence may be eliminated. Please accept our apologies. Sincerely, your postmaster. Okay, this is all lies. No one at this moment is striving to improve anything. This was made up by some copywriter who just wanted it to sound caring and professional. How can we make it seem like we actually care? Or what if we write, "We care," really big on top of the bag where we regularly put their destroyed mail? Go print up another 50 million "We care" destroyed mail bags. But I feel like that message is contradicted when you have actual mail carriers like Spooky Action 6 who say things like, "Slap it in a "We care" body bag and move on." That's so caring of you. Dookie_ says, "I missed the good one." See, that's why you have to visit the USPS subreddit every day so you don't miss any of the action. Ruby Dutch says, "Seems this particular customer expects his carrier and everyone in the USPS who handles his mail from departure to destination to keep it intact." And then this went into a whole conversation. NextCN said, "Yeah, I don't got time for that. Gotta case that S, then hit the road." And then Ruby Dutch said, "Mishandling mail costs more time in the long run, though, and you're actually not supposed to rush haphazardly to the point of damaging mail pieces." And then NextCN said, "Not like I intentionally damage stuff. It comes to me how it comes to me." Then Ruby Dutch said, "I don't know how you could say you're being careful with anyone's mail. When I posted that the expectation is to have mail kept intact, you replied that you don't got time for that." Then NextCN said, "If mail is destroyed when I get it, by law I have to deliver it. I'm not taking the time to investigate. It's just simply not my problem." Ruby Dutch says, "That attitude is just awful. Try saying that to a customer and you could find your job in jeopardy." And then NextCN says, "You must not work at the post office." You see, this is exactly what I wanted. We've started a national conversation about the problem with the USPS. Let's keep this constructive dialogue going. O'Doyle Still Rules said, "Why don't you make another 24-minute video about it?" Okay, hold on. Ruby Dutch is not me. That's just a stranger on the internet who also disagrees with you. I hope you understand that not every stranger on the internet who disagrees with you is the same person. Ruby Dutch says, "Because it didn't take me 24 minutes to explain that someone who doesn't care about the path of mail delivery from start to finish is not carrier material." O'Doyle Still Rules says, "Not really. I don't give a damn what happens to it before it arrives in my case. Once it's there, I'll case it up, pull it down, and do my best to deliver it in the same condition I received it. Anything else is literally not our job." Do you remember the movie Ray from 2004 about Ray Charles? There's a part where Ray Charles is performing and the audience is like talking and not paying attention. So this guy who works there, he tells the stagehands to lower the house lights, and then everyone starts paying attention and shuts up and enjoys the show. And then afterward, Ray asks the guy, "What was that counting I heard you doing backstage?" And he explains, "Oh, I had the guys lower the house lights so the audience would shut up." And Ray's like, "Oh, who told you to do that?" And he goes, "No one. There was a problem. It needed to be done." And Ray Charles says, "See, I like that when people say it needed to be done, as opposed to it ain't my job." So maybe there's a lesson to be learned in this Ray Charles biopic. Then Ruby Dutch said, "That would be like a waiter bringing a customer a plate from the kitchen with just a hamburger bun. When the customer complains, the waiter exclaims, "I'm just doing my job. Do you realize how busy we are? This is exactly the way I got it from the kitchen. I did my part. I'm not the chef. I'm not responsible. Feel free to call corporate on Monday." And then this comment was removed by moderators. I don't know what rule it broke. No food service analogies? O'Doyle Still Rules said, "Do you even work for the USPS?" There's a question you don't hear every day. "Your analogy is awful. This isn't a restaurant. We can't just take a damaged piece of mail back and request a new one for our customers. We have to deliver it how we get it." But here you've stumbled upon the answer. When the USPS destroys a magazine, they should send it back to Entertainment Weekly and request a new one because, and I'm repeating myself here, but I think it's important, they destroyed it! Ruby Dutch says, "Allow me to clarify my point for you. It's the arrogant attitude some carriers unfortunately have. And that's the attitude that they did their part perfectly and that customers should appreciate that no matter what condition the mail is in. It's also the attitude that they shouldn't have to answer for the USPS when they physically go around representing it. And it's the cop-out of saying machines routinely mess up all kinds of mail, so let's accept it." That's a lot of good points. Customers shouldn't have to accept your screw-ups. You do represent the USPS. And none of us, including and especially the post office, should accept the destruction of people's mail as an inevitability. You either stop accepting mail that's going to get destroyed, or you build a machine that's not going to eat my pop culture magazine. And O'Doyle Still Rules had nothing to say to that. From the Soda says, "The mail is mostly handled by machines, actually." Yeah, I just got done talking about that. They also linked to a 9-minute video about mail sorting machines. And this is actually another branch from the original Ruby Dutch comment. It's just people still arguing. I put the link in the description. You can read it if you want. But then USPS Throwaway says, "For you or the video maker to believe any carrier is thinking about you enough to mess with your mail maliciously or purposely is arrogant and paranoid. Some people just don't operate that way. I can't think of anyone willing to risk a good job with benefits for the petty thrill of pissing someone else off. What's in it for you to be so against the carrier and unable to understand that sometimes mail just gets damaged? Are you the video guy? LOL." And once again, Ruby Dutch does not take the opportunity to clarify that they are not me. But what caught my eye about this particular comment was the person's name, USPS Throwaway. Usually on Reddit, when there's a name that's like something throwaway, that means it's a throwaway account, that they created the account just to make one specific post because that post is embarrassing in some way or like really serious, or it could get them in trouble, and just they don't want it connected to their normal account. So I thought, what USPS related issue could have been serious enough for this person to create a throwaway account? So I clicked on their post history, and they've made exactly 2 posts total. This one, and 2 years ago, they posted in a thread. They didn't start the thread, but the thread says, "Hello all USPS friends. I recently came across a very cool hat a stranger was wearing. It was the USPS winter baseball cap. After a quick Google, I found many sites offering this hat. I placed my order, and after some time, I received an email stating that I needed a USPS uniform allowance card. As I am not a USPS employee, I lack this. I'm not trying to impersonate a mail worker. I just want the hat. Any suggestions? Are there some places that don't require the card? Thanks. Also, if anyone has one, I'll gladly buy it for double the cost." I guess some people just like what they like. I would never shame someone for that. You go get your USPS winter baseball cap. I hope it makes you happy. It brings you pleasure. But USPS Throwaway is not the person who posted that. They posted a comment in that thread. They created a throwaway account to say the following. Just out of curiosity, does this only apply to the clothes that are part of the uniform or anything with the logo? Why did you need to make a throwaway account for that? What are you doing? Do you got some stuff you shouldn't have? Impersonating a U.S. mail carrier is a serious federal offense. Or not. I have no idea. Who cares? Ruby Dutch says, I'll further your first thought by pointing out that anyone who believes a carrier, unprovoked, especially would intentionally mishandle mail, is probably incorrect in most cases. But I'm not so against the carrier when I say all indications suggest the carrier is at fault in this case, and that's because of the customer's testimony of the repetitiveness and frequency of occurrence. Americans subscribe to over 7,000 different magazines. None of them would still be in circulation if they were doomed to be damaged en route. Mail pieces occasionally get damaged despite all reasonable efforts, not routinely. That's true. I guess Ruby Dutch got you guys on this one. I'm sorry. And maybe your positions are indefensible. I don't know. S. Salulk says, once again showing your ignorance of how the mail comes to the carrier. The top and bottom copy of the magazines in a bundle are frequently damaged to some extent, and receiving only a cover is not an unheard of occurrence. Okay, so why doesn't someone just put like some buffer material on the top and bottom of these magazine bundles so that the magazine isn't damaged every time? Why is no one interested in fixing this broken situation? Ruby Dutch says, I think in your situation, being condescending makes you feel better about yourself, but it's a waste of time for me. This guy just wants his mail in one piece, which is reasonable, and your responses have been mostly in defense of irresponsibility. I mean, yeah. I don't know where we go from here. Ruby Dutch gets it. I just want my mail, and that's not unreasonable. And I don't think I'm out of line when I say this is not acceptable. Get your fucking boss on the phone and fix this. I got a fucking cover. I think we've really made some progress this time. And I think this time something is gonna happen. This might even reach the top of the U.S. Postal Service. Like the top postmaster. Like what is it? Postmaster General. This could even reach the highest levels of government. I think the federal government is a little busy right now. There's an investigation of some kind happening. But once they get that problem, sorted out and, out of the White House, then whoever is in charge after that maybe can take a look at this Postal Service situation. If you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs down. Remember to give that subscribe button the old tippity tap, and share this video with everybody in the world. And if you have some thoughts about this situation, and especially if you're not a U.S. postal carrier, drop it in the comments. Meantime, I'm just gonna go home, relax, take a bath, whip up some hot chocolate, maybe throw on a nice Ray Charles biopic, and maybe read my cover again. That's good reading. Huh. Exclusive photos and new intel on 126 films. Mary Poppins Returns. Wow. I bet those photos are real good. All right.